Okay, we're live. I'm back. All right, this is part B of this bow thing that I'm working on. Um, okay, so I've already kind of done the introduction, and then the first part of this. Let's get into the stuff. Um, and we've been basically talking about the difference between Schumann resonances and the Schumann. The Schumann. As people understand it um, these days. I've given a lot of my time and effort and writing over to the very topic of, the proper technical scientific explanation of Schumann resonances. And there's more people coming into this. There's always going to be more people coming into this. Um, it's not ever going to end. The work is always going on, but at some point, the old guard passes off to the new people what's important to understand and uphold. And I I put the YouTube channel out there. I put the Facebook material out there so that you can see it and you have it freely and clearly as a service to the universe. And I haven't charged money for it. And that's one of the things that sort of kind of whittled away at me that it'd be one thing if this was a financial pursuit. I mean, and you really should donate money for my time, but I didn't put it as a financial pursuit. I put it out there for people to have the information, and I mean, realistically, I should have the information by paid service only, but that's everything these days, and it's good for you to have some information that's just free. The information that the earth freely gives. Um, it's been since I've done this has been by donation only. I mean, really, I don't. My channel isn't monetized, and if it was, I wouldn't get any money because it all goes to the music, right? Um, and I've said this from the beginning that the channel was intended for music, for Aaron mix, and for dancing. And this is not an easy road to hoe. Having a YouTube channel that's not monetized and to do videos that can't be monetized. Um, and so that's something to consider. And it takes work here. It takes effort to be here, whether you're working for money or whether you're working for the public good. There's pros and cons of either side, right? Um, uh, and I ask those of you if maybe you can't give me a donation, pray that I can find a job that helps support me, because that's where I'm at here. And I'm doing this video in part because I need to remind y'all to please help me support me. This is how I make my money, but I don't. I don't make anything off of this. But this is supposed to be how I'm, where I'm at in the this new age is by providing this kind of information, this kind of service to people who do not of themselves otherwise know what's going on. And you could potentially have the information, but it's just, oh my God, it's overwhelming. And you get caught up, and it takes someone like me who spent the better part of my life dedicated to finding this information out, to learning it for myself, to be able to translate it for you than it is for you to figure it out by yourself, right? Because when you figure it out by yourself, and you're welcome to do whatever you want, but you can tell the people who have figured out how to read the Schumann graphs by themselves without any training, they get it messed up and they leave out three-quarters of the information. That's not a valid reading of the graphs, in my humble view, right? Um, so So the lesson, so the mission, the understanding the higher orders of the Schumann resonances and what's going on there is the mission, is my mission, and I'll serve it for whatever rest of the time I have life left to live here, uh, that I have to. That's kind of what The goal is because with the understanding of the Schumann resonances, there's also kind of, as I'm, there's also the breaking down of what the true spiritual stuff is. No, the Schumann isn't what you're told, but here is what you're anyway. Whatever. I've said that before. All right. So my my part here, I'm what you might call a galactic. I've had some 56 years to kind of help figure this out. Uh, what is that? What's a galactic? Well, a being, an entity that's not from this solar system. That's from elsewhere. Uh, and I talk about what it takes a soul to get here, a spirit. Uh, and there's a process to winnowing down the 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 spirit, the life force, to be able to incarnate here into this form, the, the spirit form, the material. I'm sorry, the material form, uh, or to the spirit form to live within the material form. I'm not sure how even to phrase that, right? Um, Earth here. This is, and I'm giving you my understanding of this place based on my perspective. That, um, I recall these long conversations with my guides on the matters of humans and humanity, and asking a lot of questions on stuff before making the choices that would lead to the lessons that I had to learn here. I know as a fact that it is by willful intention that people come here, that are born here, that incarnate here, and it takes so much effort to be born that it has to be by will alone. That you don't get, you're not, you don't accidentally get born here. This isn't random. This is, the amount of work and effort and energy it takes to make all of this continue to grow and go and move, is none of it is random. If it's a collection of things and they fit together, it's not random. The trees working together with the vines and everything, none of this is random, right? And so that's one of the differences between me and between the average person here, that starts separating us out, is that we remember our making our contract. We remember the time before this. We recall that stuff, and it comes in through dreams. It comes in through getting a bump on the head, through near death experiences. It comes in through puberty. It comes in through all kinds of things, all kinds of whatever can trigger in the usher in the recall of your contract, which of necessity involves following through in past life progress. That whatever things you've been working on in past lives, you're working on them in this life here, as part of the overall journey of your soul. Um, and so that is, to me, one of the most basic things of being here, of the purpose of the reason for being here, is to help remember. And people talk about people, I'm seeing it out there and Facebook and wherever, people talking about the veil. The purpose of the veil is to get us to remember, and that's more or less correct. That's true enough. That it that isn't its purpose, but it does serve to do that. Right? The veil is not for us, but we do interact with it. We do, right? It's part of the material nature of the planet, the veil of living as a material being, or living in the material realm, just say. So I'm, ultimately all human souls come from elsewhere, but people get trapped here, and then you forget, and then you forget that you're supposed to remember, and then you just live here as if nothing else is other than this. Um, and there are plenty of beings that came here to help that got lost, that forgot what their purpose was, what their mission was. And so I will call myself a star seed as a galactic from way, way, way far away, who, and I can tell you from my perspective what it takes to go all that distance, but it's not in a material way, such as you would have material here of the planet, right? Earth, humans know the universe through being an incarnate being. We know and have a perception of the universe based on the perspective of a material being. But you get amnesia coming here, and that's what you know, and so you forget everything else living normally as a human. You have to ask the universe to please help you recall, and you have to want to recall, and you have to be able to assimilate and acclimate what you've experienced. And this is all important stuff because if you don't integrate it, you don't have any growth. And as part of the thing of being from out there, being a star seed, being a galactic, being an extra dimensional being, whatever, living as a human, is that process of remembering is a lifetime process. Because not only are you remembering and recalling, you're activating it into existence in here in this lifetime. And honestly, that's one of the things that can make it both exciting and challenging and wonderful and all of that, but that can also make it difficult to be here. Uh, is the amount of work and energy and effort it takes for a progressively lessening reward or feedback from it. You need to have an exchange of energy from what you're putting out there to what's coming back. And the circuit has to be complete. Otherwise, there's going to be an imbalance, a buildup somewhere of the energy, and it's stored as emotionally charged energy of, I guess, the negative orientation where you just feel used up, or you feel worn out, or alone, which is sort of underappreciated. Uh, you do it for yourself, and then at a certain point, it's like, well, I'm tired of doing this for myself. I want to move on, and it's hard as a human to not feel that way. At a certain point, you keep doing and doing and doing, and it's like, well, I don't know. I've done enough. I've heard enough. Like that's kind of where I'm at with this. That yeah, there's keeping going because people need it and this is important stuff. But then at a certain point for myself, how motivated am I? Um, and the problem with coming here as a volunteer, as a galactic, is being able to feel like you truly fit in. And it takes a lot of learning. It takes a lot of effort and energy to be able to just comprehend what's going on, just on the most basic level here. And it's becomes my experience becomes easier to grasp the highly technical stuff that's happening here and just learn that as opposed to having to explain it to people. Um, and when people get it, when others get it, and it works out, it's wonderful. but it does take a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of effort to translate it into a language that people understand. And that's part of, I think, maybe one of the biggest aspects of being a galactic or a star seed, if you will, 1515, is the fact that it takes a lot of work and energy. And there's varying degrees of feedback, reciprocity, continuing the circuit, like all of that, returning the energy that you put out, that it's not just that people read it and yeah, it's cool, I get it, but that someone actually really truly got something significant out of what you put. Um, Part of the biggest quest here is to figure out what's real, what's really real, what's actual. Uh, and part of it is that if you're putting out something out there that you want other people to benefit from, you need to get back from them that I've gotten something from this. A lot of people out here doing this ascension stuff are taking the other people with them, and it's a one-on-one, not one-on-one, but it's a one to one with one. But there's a bunch of people that are all going, and everyone to a person is happy that they're all on this wonderful journey together, and they're all skipping, and that's, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not being derogatory or diminutory. That's a very common experience here, and the picnic aspect of the ascension. As people move forward very slowly, snail speed, but enrich the lives of others, right? That's one of the best things you can hope for, is to be with people that just make the lives of others better, right? And there is a type of ascension, a wonderfulness that comes with that, right? But the higher orders that you're looking for, that you believe are with the Schumann resonances, that's a whole other thing that you got to work at and diligently work at, that doesn't come by itself. And that's what the galactics, the extraterrestrials, the star seeds know, is that it takes a lot of extra work to ascend from the material realm without cheating or shortcut or shorting the process, such as what it's claimed the Schumann resonances does, that it's rising your frequencies, and you're somehow magically going to be rising, your frequencies are going to be rising, uh, and take you spiritually with it. And that's not where it says in any, there's no literature, traditional literature, sacred text that tells you that anywhere, that you just, the earth will do this for you, or something else does this for you. That's how you stay on the wheel of karma. That's how you stay on the wheel of life and death. That's how you stay coming back. That is, by being misunderstanding what the physical nature of this reality is. That even if you did evolve your two stranded to 12-strand DNA, you still need to ascend out of that. That's not the end process. It's not 5D. I mean, I can tell you what 5D is, but that's not it. 5D is here and now. My perfect, impeccable timing. There you go. That's 5D. There's a lot more to this, about that whole 2, 3, 4, 5D, 6D, all of that, than you really can wrap your head out of it. It's very technical. It's the same kind of thing, of the technicality of the Schumann resonances, that you're misreading those. You're shortcutting the information, providing one quarter of the information, saying it's intuitive, you don't need any more of it. Whatever, believe what you want, but that's a whole big ass problem. 1919, whole big ass problem. So 1919, I think I've rambled enough, and I think I'm gonna make coffee during the break. So I'm gonna be making coffee. I didn't even make it past this. Yeah, okay. All right, there we go. Actually, I think, yeah, we're at 1919. Whatever. I called it at 1919. So we got music at, it's almost like 2019 at this point. It's almost 2020. All right, so we got music. I'm going to play some stuff. And it's a, um, It's a 28-minute Aaron mix, and I'll catch you on the other side. Okay, I'm back. Back in motherfucking saddle. All right. Where are we? Okay. Yep, there we go. All right. Nice, nice, nice. All right. So, okay. Numbers are clacking. 3101. Back in the saddle. Uh, oh, good God. I'm talking about being a galactic, a galactarian. Okay. Where are we at? I think I need to vape a little for this. All right. What am I doing? Hmm. Okay. All right. 3121. You know, so I speak about, and I really believe that a lot of these gods that came here, that incarnated, that we would think about, you'd pray to, came at one point to live as a human, to be part of the human experience, the mortality, to experience mortality. Um, the soul, your spirit, the life force does not experience mortality the same way that you do in this human form. Um, and it's kind of like this is a unique expression. This is one of the most difficult, this is a beautiful, unique, wonderful experience. Just because it's difficult, like the part of it is that it's there's a large amount of this that's just automatic, that the earth does it for us, that the earth and the sun intelligently moderate this for us so that we don't have to, be in control of this, that we just have to survive. And that's one of the most difficult parts of being here is actually surviving the conditions and thriving. Uh, it's throughout recorded history. That this goes back much further than humans have been human, and mortality has taken the shape and the form of the animals and the trees and all of that, and it's just part of the natural existence of this place to go through cycles. You don't have the same experiences anywhere else, certainly not in our galaxy. The majority of the planets are the gas giants, or you have asteroids or satellites or whatever. Uh, you know, um, so this place is a very unique place that gives wonderful opportunities to people to experience here. But it is by design. This experiment was put way out here. The Earth had to agree to do this too, right? To be an intelligent uh, benefactor to the humans. And so that was by design that humans were planted way far out here in the far reaches of the rest or of the civilized galaxy. Hard to kind of put that the proper way, but we humans were kind of planted way out here in the outskirts of the galaxy, so we wouldn't do more harm than we had to. The rest of the star races, whoever the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, the Syrians, whatever, you've heard from. They come from a far, far, far away, and it's my understanding that the 12 regions of the skies are of the 12. You talk about 12 stranded DNA. That's it right there. There's the 12 strands of different races that got together that created the hybrid humans. All of them had a little piece in it somewhere that they all gave of their originally of their genetic makeup. But that's a whole other story, and I can't really validate that. But it's sort of what my guides have led me to believe is that the 12 divisions in the sky are not just randomly put there, but they are of the benefactors to humanity that have helped out in the past. Right? Um, so there's many other types of souls or spirit transfers through materials or dimensional densities, dimensional existences. You have the presence of solar portals, that allow for hyperdimensional travel. There's the instances of those who operate a high level of consciousness, not existing in a physical body, but they can influence you. Elementals that are not truly physical, but aren't also not physical. Uh, um, Life, all these things, different. You can see just on Earth itself the different types of life forms that you have. All the way from the crabs and the shellfish and the sea to you have fish, big fish, small fish. You have land dwelling animals. You have life that exists down in the depths of the sea that where there's no light to speak of, and yet the creatures make their own light. And there is a wonderful variety of life forms on this planet from basically from all over that have been um, transplanted here to be able to live, to try and live in the conditions here, to live and proliferate. Um, and so one of the things that my guides have explained to me is that, I came here, and I've said this before, if there was a way that I could have helped without incarnating here as a human, I would have, right? But you really, truly can't help help the humans without, uh, without being a human, without being one. It's not something that like that's not an option. So generally speaking, that's why I incarnated, because I had to help humans, and I wanted to because you just feel bad for the humans. You look at you take a silent exam of the situation of humanity, and relative to the wonderful place I came from that isn't like this at all. uh, you want to help the people, the humans. It starts out with a lot of souls incarnate here to help, because this is really truly the only way that you can actually assist humans. And if you could stay in the other form, you certainly would. Humans may not understand that there is some other form that you have, and that your spiritual light is coherent light, and that's what Carillion photography. That's what a lot of this stuff pick up. People that can read your aura, blah blah blah. You have an eternal light to you, but the humans don't, of course, recognize that. We don't see it. It's been conditioned out of us, beaten out of us, and so we don't see that. And yet, right, you can exist as a coherent light source or some other form, and yet, oh, the humans won't recognize you. They're not going to see you. They're probably going to try and burn you or something, or you just no. They don't respond to positively in any other form except to humans. And even then, still, if you're in the human form, they may still not respond to you. It's a very personal. The human experience is a very personal, uh, individual, unique experience, and not random stuff doesn't stick together. Random shit doesn't stick together. You are not going to vibe and resonate with every person. And that, largely speaking, is why humans are not going to be evolving and elevating and ascending as one huge mass of humanity. That's a myth. 3939. That's a myth. You've been told that uh, you're holding on to, that you may or may not be holding on to, but a lot of people are. Mm. I don't know if I said this before, and you've heard me say this before. I don't know if you heard me say this before, but I love coffee. Oh my fucking god, hot coffee. Cream and sugar and Anyway, the cheery news. Yeah. So, like I said, if I could have come here and occupied a whole nother form and helped out, I would have. But that's not how you're received well by the humans. You're not received that well, and you become an alien invader, right? You're here to help, but you are get received as an alien invader because you don't get recognized. And I mean, my God, humans don't recognize other humans as being, helpful unless you, no, whatever. It's a whole nother thing. And that's why I had to incorporate here as a human. I had to incarnate here as a human. You don't get, all these gods have come before you, Vishnu and Krishna and Brahma, like all of them, Jesus, all of them. They had a divine nature, same as you. Right, I'm not that different from you. You're not that different, right? That the divine nature, your spirit, your soul is immortal. But the material realm here is it's a persistent illusion. It's very strong, and it's very difficult to get past the veil, the trap of the material world, the trappings of the pleasure of the material world. It's extremely difficult. And that's one of the biggest, most important things that catches people is that dabbling in the material realm and for any number of desires, especially wealth, fame, wealth, uh, and people make all kinds of negotiations and deals and arrangements with powers, supernatural powers beyond their understanding to grant them their wishes, and it does, and then you become a servant or a slave on the material realm. In the material realm, you become a slave to it at the time, and then afterwards, when you're forced to pay back on the contract that was given to you, so you had fame, you you're a prisoner on that level as well. You know, and so one of the things, so it's difficult. That's the common human trapping is to be held prisoner by the material realm of your desires or your accumulations or your uh, all kinds of stuff. Your motivation, your drives, desires, career goals, all of that. Um, Building your empire, all of it. And that's one of the ways that the humans get snared up and caught up in all of the material world is you forget the mission your soul, your spirit, your life force came here to accomplish. And when we get caught up with the people at the parties and the festivals, and we get caught up in the moment and it just kind of let it take us, and the music just takes us wherever, and we're on a social trip, and this is just kind of how we want to live our life from gig to gig without thinking of anything greater than I'm stacking money, saving money for maybe for my retirement or going on vacation. There's nothing wrong with it, right? And I'm not being critical of it. Just saying that this is the human experience. This is the common human experience of kind of, just hanging out, partying, and just flopping around with your friends and doing activities. Certainly doing activities. Softball. I loved softball. I loved playing hockey with my friends. I loved that. The camaraderie of it was amazing. But in these competitions where we're building, competitiveness and everything, and it's all fine, it's all good, this is not a lot of this human experience is not of itself how you properly, ascend from the material bonds, the material prison, the material, bondage of the world. And the self itself is not the problem. It's that self gets tangled up into the group experience, and you're recognizing yourself as part of that group, and you don't. What's the best way to explain this? That in many cases we're talking about like elevation and self-determined evolution and all of that. The difficulty of doing that through being part of the group and raising the group up as a whole in that respect, uh, that's a whole other deep process that has to be developed. It comes over time, and you, people have to just feel that. You can't mentally, uh, you can't mentally. Oh, I don't know how to explain it, but this is the problem, or this is the reason why you can't help humans except becoming a human, that in this form you have certain feelings and emotions that get exchanged in among the group that builds it and binds it and connects it as a group, right? And so the elevation of the group is incremental, very small. But it does happen, it can happen with continued effort over time as I develop myself and the others around me through osmosis develop their, kind of they're happy to see me and they're perking up, right? That has a net benefit of being a part of that group, okay? But it's the resonances. They rise and drop incrementally, very small amount, as opposed to your own individual growth that you can do by yourself without the constraint of the least common one of the group dragging you down, if you will. And a lot of times it doesn't always happen, but it can very much happen that of the group, we're not all in the same accord, we're not all in the same wavelength, and we're not all vibing at with what this person is saying, or we're not all in agreement with what this person is saying, but we give them the freedom to say what they have to, right? Helping to what, correct, amend some erroneous thinking relative to the purposes and the intention of the group. Like, this is a whole industry of working with humans on an individual level to get them in sync with the rest of the group, that it becomes, again, it's just part of the human experience, that it becomes uh, a job itself just to get people to all kind of be of like mind, of like accord, of one accord, and even just to define what the like mind is, and even to just define what the be in unity and harmony is, right? This is the, small groups. What's the largest group that you could have where you're all in harmony and you're all in synchrony, right? I don't know, but I will tell you that it becomes very difficult to start working with this type of in depth spiritual growth at a group level of more than 50 people, even, right? I mean, right, my own personal experience, 20 people, 30 people, how many do you get into the group where someone starts complaining and where are we going to go and all the most common basic banal human concerns, and there they are and you can't argue with them, and then that's where the group goes, and this is how it goes with humanity, right? That there is a level of success that gets celebrated when we're all in like accord, because it's so incredibly difficult for everyone just to kind of vibe in harmony when you get these large groups together. Just is that, and all of the concerns of everyone together, because the majority of people, if not everyone, are not putting their concerns and their whatever to the side for the group. Can't blame him. I don't know, but it is its own thing that everyone wants their voice, their thing heard, and maybe rightly so, because that's what this experience is. But this is working together as a group and in communion, and it may not necessarily be that ascension out of the material realm. right? And just to be able to work together with a group is ascension enough, in my view, right? To work together with a group of 20 people, and ain't not one single one of them pissed off at me for something, I consider that's a success. Anything more than that, right? Uh, uh, what do you want to talk about? I'm happy to talk about it, but everyone has their own view, all individuals. And I know what I know for myself. And, like, I'm happy to talk about it. And yet, maybe there's nothing I can say, right? All right. So, at that note, 5151. I'm going to play some more music. I think I talked enough. And then I'll come back to, I'll come back to this 5115, actually. I'm crazy with those numbers. Alrighty, so we're playing music here, just a little bit because I talked enough and I need to break talking. Uh, we're back. Let's turn that down. Nice. All right. Pow. Pow. Motherfucker. All right. Hey. All right. 5707. Thank you all for being here. Okay. And this is my job. Please do remember to put a buck in the donation bin if you can. I'm gonna try to. I gotta remember my darndest to put the link for my donation bin out there so y'all can stuff something in it. Um, all right, because this is my job. And I've talked about that. I've talked about that at length. I keep talking about it. I have to. I'm thinking maybe I don't talk enough about it. Because I talk about it when I make videos, and if I'm not making videos, I'm not talking about it, right? So, and people have asked me in real life, "Hey, where's the latest content?" And where's your videos? And I'm brush the cobwebs away and the tumbleweeds over there at your channel, and just wondering if you're still kicking and ticking. And yeah, I'm ticking and kicking and moving and grooving and sicking and sticking and whatever, like a chicken. Anyway, on that cherry the F bomb note. Um so yeah, oh god. I'm giving you everything I know. Maybe not everything. There's still more crap I know that I get to share. But like this is the ending stuff. Like it's just coming to the ending as the poles move and shift and they're racing to their new location. It's that's the drama. That you believe whatever you want, you think whatever you want about humanity and man and whatever, and but that's why the race for doing this, a lot of this huge projects, is because it really is at the end and there's this push to squander the money. Someone told me that, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, and it just, but as I see things unfolding, that makes a lot more sense, is to squander the wealth and to whatever. There's a whole thing going on. Just because I know what's happening doesn't mean like, oh, hey, this is great. I like knowing about this stuff or want to know about it, or someone's got to know about it, and I guess that's me. And I will tell you all about it. What are you up for hearing or learning, right? And I'm even willing to sit with you and pray with you that we both get wisdom granted so that we understand what's happening. Kankasta pachahara mulu ufa pamamalasisapachabada. And yet, what you find is, even more to the point, that the earth ain't doing this for you. Schumann resonances aren't doing this for you. And if anything's going to happen, it's you doing this for yourself and you doing it for the rest of humanity, because someone needs to do it, right? And the people who have to do it are the ones who are drawn to understanding it and know it and have to do it because they know it needs to be done. And whatever the cost, you do it because it's the right, proper thing to do. You do it because it needs to be done, not because there's a payoff to it, but because if God were here, He would do it. And since God's not here, like, I got to do it, and you got to do whatever the mission is. But it needs to get done, right? And it's just the time. It's the time, right? And those of you who follow, oh my God, 10101, those of you who follow suspicious observers, Dr. Ben, uh, over there, you know very well the timeline. It's ticking, it's coming, right? The earth is the one making the final call, and it's held off as long as it could, but it's just now time. And it's like giving birth, at the end, the contractions come quicker and quicker, and then you have a brand new life. And that's sort of what is happening, is that we're in the giving birth phase, and it's a wonderful thing to see it and be part of it, and also frightening and terrifying at the same time. And it's very overwhelming. It's very overwhelming, right? For humans and for non-humans alike. Right. All right. So I've talked about this. The me, that, me. Right. This is my video. I can talk about me. But the form that, I'm occupying this form, but I think of it as like I'm a big puppet, like the meat suit. Yeah, the me that's underneath is more important, and that's what's going to be going on. And yet, that's what the light is, the coherent light. Um, uh, we talk about the veil system of the material world. It's not really 3D, it's multidimensional, beyond what people are able and willing to grasp. Humans dimly refer to the physical world as a world of 3D, as if the physical material world was the problem itself, right? And that's one of these common uh, things you hear in among the Schumann as spiritual realm, is this kind of thing of 3D, and we're moving from 3D into 5D, and they want you to get into like there is this mindset behind that is pushing an agenda that is trying to nail you into what exactly 3D or 5D is. Like it's, now it's negative and it's going to be positive in the future. And yet, that's not really, I mean, what is the end reality of where we're heading, because we're already now in 5D. And I am describing, defining in the best way possible. Right? Ask them to please define 5D. All right, that's fine. Let them do whatever. Let them say whatever. Let me define it for you, and I will say it's my impeccable timing to be at the right time at the right place. Right? Uh, there's a whole science. I don't even know where even to go with that. It's a spiritual science associated with the 3D, 1D, 2D, 3D, all of that. There's a grid, a dimensional grid. On one direction you have a dimension, the other you have a density, dimension and density and all of this kind of stuff. Mm. I love coffee. And I can go into it, could have, maybe had, I have gone into it in the past, but it's very complicated. And the fact of the matter is that just by knowing that in itself is not going to be the end solution. It's not in the end game, because a lot of this is rhetoric and a lot of this is what you have to understand to move forward. And it's not something you readily can understand it. And even at the end of the day, when you do understand it, you're not better off for having understood it, because it's not the proper place or proper concept or whatever. I don't even know, the proper place that we're at of what 5D is, because it's not an end. It's here now. It's something that's here now that you can tap into. It's not like an end goal. It is here and now. And I've given the example, like I said, my impeccable timing, but it's being at the right place at the right time, and then having people say, "Oh, I just was thinking of you." Right? There's an element of consciousness of tuning into the intuitive wave that's not bound to the linear, the one after one after one after one. It's a non-linear. It's non of non-material dimension. It's non-linear, and so it's of higher order than the clock. Your clock is linear, and so when you tune into impeccable timing of that 5D timing, you can meet someone at the right time at the right place, despite the what the clock says. That maybe you started out, you're going to meet someone at a certain time, but because you're tuned into the universe, they were late, you were late, and you still wound up meeting them at the right time at the right place, even though it wasn't the agreed on appointment time, right? Like that's 5D. Very simple. You're not moving out there, way out there, until you master the basics. Like, you just need to understand that. If you don't know what the first three, four dimensions are of what the reality of it is, that this is all relative. Is time is relative, dimensions are relative. They're not anchored down in any way. You have your set dimensions, I have my set dimensions, and sometimes they can intersect. But when we start working together, this is where that higher order, higher dimensional stuff is 5D, 6D, 7D. It's not because you're that advanced, it's because you gave over into that spirit of the universe, into that spirit of unity, and you stopped depending on the clock as it was coming from God, and you let the universe kind of direct your flow of time. You gave up the first couple dimensions. You're not anchored. You know they exist. You have, they're convenient when you need them to, but you gave them up. They didn't cease existing. They didn't stop existing. You just stopped holding on to them, right? The first three dimensions are still there. You're just not anchoring yourself to them. So you live in a three-dimensional world that's not the first three dimensions of our common existence. And that's how you get into like 6D, 7D, and all of that. That it's not that the first ones don't exist or the nonlinear ones don't exist. Those are just training. It's like going to school. What you need to learn on the job, you learn on the job, right? You learn certain stuff on the job, but that's like all of this basic stuff. It's not that it doesn't exist anymore. It's that you're not holding on to it. Right, and this is what one of the most important parts of all of this 3D, 4D, multi-dimensional reality is, that it's all relative, just like time is relative, time is linear. It's not non-linear. There's a clock. It's there. You imposed it on it, right? But the trick is to not live by it. And this is one of the things that is the hardest part of people, of the first part of non-material dependence existence, is of getting off of the time grid, and establishing a different set of time standards for you and your friends. That, yeah, you realize there's a clock for convenience that we all can meet and all get together. However, that is not the final end matter on it, that we do also open this up to, being maybe a little bit of flexibility in the time because we need to, right? And that's sort of also how you evolve in thinking, is that you're not nailed down, you're not attached to a set time, right? Uh, the veil system of the Mother Earth, the material Earth, is not merely 3D, it's multidimensional, like I said. Humans dimly refer to the physical world as 3D. The true spiritual reality of this existence, and that is that this is exactly how it's supposed to be, right? Uh, this material world, good, bad, or otherwise, right? Like, it's difficult. I'm not the only one who has difficulty being here, living here. A lot of people, like, yeah, they're humans, they accept it, but they're like, just, a lot of people, the majority of people are just like, oh, this place is crap. Maybe it's because of the humans, maybe because of whatever, and the humans, or maybe it's whenever it's whatever. But largely speaking, the humans have some part of it, and that's sort of true. It's the humanity itself has made things the way it is here, and it's not necessarily that it is, it's the way that humans have made it here. And part of the difficulty is to accept some other thing and to still be a sane, happy individual who isn't being beaten down by the common collective understanding of the least common denominator, right? And the fourth force is a lot of how these things are or the threat of force are how they're um, pushed on people. They're how they're enforced. It's how it's encouraged. Is that it's not encouraged, it's enforced. Um, Earth is already in 5D or 6D or any other D or density or dimension that you might want to think, you might want to talk about. But because you don't know how it works doesn't mean that Earth is not already there. And like I said, I'm giving you, have given, if you followed along. Hopefully, I haven't confused you. Hopefully, you followed along with this, with what I was saying about the higher orders of this 5D, 6D stuff, that it's not that you're going to some other new world. It's that you stop depending on the lower orders of the dimensions of linear time and linear space. And you're in nonlinear and quantum and all of that stuff. That's the earth, as you know, it is still here. The trees are still here. All of this material stuff is here, right? But you're not living as a prisoner, right? You're living as a free person, a free individual. You're living as someone who is here willfully and doing willfully what you want, and not because you have to, or not because of any reason other than you just want to do the right thing for doing the right thing, or you do what makes you happy and makes you a whole, complete individual, right? All this stuff, whatever, right? That's the promise of the Aquarian age, that we're not anchored to those old constructs of um, the Piscean age, that we are coming into a new consciousness that allows us to kind of live the life of our dreams, and that's the promise, right? Right. So, and it's kind of what I came here to help with, right? Like, I mean, I don't know whatever your gig is, but it's sort of why I came here. What I'm supposed to be helping with is helping to kind of free people up with the better, greater understanding of what this higher order stuff is, that is baffling to people, because this isn't just something this is not something they've lived in. Whereas I will tell you, this is what I'm comfortable with is, and this is the areas that I'm coming to bring to help humanity with, and that may or may not be from the Schumann resonances, but let me tell you the spiritual principles as I understand them, right? And once you have a fuller understanding of the Schumann resonances and what's entailed, you'll see for yourself that it's not what they tell you it is. The spiritual stuff you're gleaning from the Schumann resonances is not, it's not correct, right? But you're free to make your own decisions, right? Um, I ask Creator God to give me the proper words and correct message in human words that you can grasp, which is important at this time. Right? Give me the words that you would have for the people, your grace, so that I'm clearly understood, that I may speak clearly and be clearly understood by the people who need to hear the message. Right? There is a great wanting of opening up to the potential for spiritual matters at this time, right? That's the promise of the age. But the wanting itself is not a pathway to evolution and ascension, if that's your goal, right? Um, so just the fact that you're we should be evolving itself is not the pathway, right? It's that the even if, and I explain it a different way, right? If even if the Schumann resonances were rising in their frequency, it wouldn't matter. You still have work to do. You still have ethical and moral work to do. You have your own pathway that you need to walk, regardless of whatever the Earth's frequency was doing, even if it was doing something, or the Earth's magnetic whatever, or the Sun Earth link. It's important to understand that the sun and earth are working together to keep humans alive in mass as long as possible, right? Once that great solar flash hits, it's that one great solar flash, like Carrington was happened when we had almost full strength, like not full strength, but largely full strength. It gave it a knockout. The Carrington event gave the 1859 or 1858 gave our ionosphere, the magnetosphere, the ionosphere, a serious blow. It gave it a huge hit. We recovered from that, but that's what started the modern race of the poles to the new location. Okay, so we can't withstand another blast like Carrington when we get, oh yeah, like no, and the earth and sun are working together as a team to help prevent that from happening because the shields are weakening, and it's letting in all sorts of mutagenic stuff from out there, and it's having a detrimental effect on people's thinking and their actions, right? And so this is one of the important things that you have to have a good process, a good principle, good grounding procedures for your life, so that when you do get that crazy blast, when it comes, the great solar flash is coming. It is coming. It's coming. So that you can survive, right? And not get cooked. Right? I think that's the best way to put it. All right. So, all right. So we're at 117.30, 117.40, whatever. What do we get for music? We still got some music left. About half of this is still left. So I'm going to play some music now. Why not?
doesn't matter what it looks like. The victory is already yours.
It is going to be all right. Just remember that everything. I'm I'm remembering that. If I can remember that, then so can you. Uh, yeah. So let's turn this pause thing on going on here. I don't know if I've told you any of y'all before, but I love coffee so much. I'm just am addicted to mofo to it. Um, I have to enjoy the coffee. It's got psychoactive principles. Like I'm gonna do a video on just freaking coffee and why we like coffee and why coffee and mimosa is so wonderful together. Mm. I love coffee. I don't care. I don't even fucking care. Anyway, so 125.05. Okay. You know, any of you who've watched The Equalizer with McCall, Denzel Washington? I never watched the original one so much, but the one with Denzel Washington, The Equalizer, where he before he starts clearing the room out, he sets his timer and he's got everything all laid out in his head to how long it's going to take him to clear through that room of those guys, and then when he's done, he clicks the stopwatch and he just 25 seconds minus and he's just like that's kind of how I feel doing this, like the same exact sort of thing. Like I keep looking, like I'm watching the clock, even though I'm fiddling around and going way off script and farting around, I'm still just like dead on that the time there, the ticker, the clacker, uh, and it's there, clacking away. So it's funny. I just kind of, we're not doing the same exact thing, but just that watching of the clock and just being fastidious with it and dead on it and timing everything out and just a similar kind of thing. All right. So being surgical with the clock. Um, and that is actually, I believe, a Libra. Uh, what do you call that? A Libra trait, if I'm understand correctly. The whole thing about balancing time. All right. So all right. 126. And I think I'm gonna, because this is the end of this. I think I'm gonna play music at the end of it and kind of fade out with that. I didn't do that on the other one, if I remember correctly, or a couple. I did. I think I finished the end of it, but on this one, maybe I'll play a nice long outro. I don't know. The end of this has 5 minutes. I think I want to do a nice long outro. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. Make it a full 2 hours if I can. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. I kind of make this up as I'm going along. But I know, all I do know is I needed content for my damn video, for my damn channel. I haven't done it in a while. So and channel related content. I've been doing the moving thing and the final exam about leaving the town up there. But I want to get back into like the hardcore stuff of the channel and give a complete picture here. And I've done everything on the Schumann, not everything, but the majority of everything on the Schumann resonances. And now it's time to, start talking about the Schumann, right? And work through it, right? It's not necessarily any more of an illusion than all the rest of everything that's going on. Nothing, certainly nothing more than that should get me all worked up over this as I have in the past. But it's something that needs to be discussed and need to talk about. And God's not going to give you the false, fake, phony message, the crappy message. But if you do have a false, fake, crappy message, He'll heal that unto what the proper order is, and then give you the thing you're looking for. Right? That's the principle. Right? That's the principle. I I get kind of emotionally worked up on that because it's a promise to the people. It's a gift. It's a something to let you know that you're not forgot. That people aren't forgot. Even though you're doing this all, you're supposed to do this all yourself, right? You just haven't been forgotten, and God hears you, and it works here how it has to work. But don't stop believing, right? Don't give up. That's part of the message. Don't give up. And That's sort of why I'm still alive, even though I have died. I've outlived death a few times. I've been back here and I'm here to report it, what's on the other side. And that's how a lot of this is how I know that I've gone through the portal. I've died a few times and I've come back. And that's how people know you can't be afraid to go over to the other side if need be to find your answers. Um, and I don't regret it, but it's part of the difficulties in the living and talking to the living about it, about things that they don't really have, they have no hope of understanding, but you can't let that stop you, right? It might be one of the most disappointing things ever is dealing with people about important things that they have no idea in any way about how to comprehend, but you got to talk to them anyway. And the universe will help you find a way, but it's still difficult. And maybe at the end of it, you might not have made much of an impression, but you still got to be there. You still have to do the job. You still got to show up, right? That's part of what the big deal of humans and humanity is showing up, right? Just physically being there. The big part of the, how do you say it? The biggest part of this existence is showing up here and being here. And that's part of one of the reasons why the principle of why I it's important for me. It has been important for me to show my face on these videos. And somewhere, right, is to show up for them and to be present and to have a good video. Even if I ramble off on the topic or whatever, I still have a script I come back to, right? Enough of you have said you're okay with me rambling off on the wherever, and that, and I go in good directions. I go where I'm led, and I go where I feel I have people who in areas that people want to talk about and hear about. And it's one of the more difficult things of doing this is to be present, not just do a voiceover, but to actually show up and to be physically here, right? There's a lot of work that it takes to be there, but because it's important and you all are important in this enough that you get the full story, that's why I'm here. It's important enough to for me to say it. It's important enough for me to show up and say it, right? Um, and so that's one of the things of this place is that it is the veil comes with showing up and being present and the material the material of the body of the experience. It's showing up and it's exercising every day and getting up and not letting atrophy take over and not letting your body uh, devolve and exercising every day, right? Your mind, your body, and getting out and keep working at your path and your chosen mission, whatever that is, right? For me, it's doing videos. So that whatever else it is, right? This is my pathway. This is my mission. This is my job, and I need to work at this in addition to whatever else will pull money in for me, right? Um, and so it's important for me to be here every day to work this, right? By the grace of God. Uh, and that's why I'm doing this. Not necessarily because I want to, but because I need to show up to explain this to y'all. And, God loves you first and foremost. I love you too, but not as much as a creator God, Ooh, hey, what am I doing, right? A little bit of another keyframe on the video, right? So, all right. So this is part of it, the great mysteries, this is how it is manifested. It's this time. Like, I'm not one of those people who believe that this is, that our DNA is time, uh, what do they call it? Time released or something. I forget what the expression they used, but like that our DNA is supposed to stitch itself back together now. But I believe that some of the kids, maybe not all of them, but a lot of the kids that are born now are getting their DNA kind of reworked, that they're not the same. A lot of kids are not, but there's, the indigo, I think they're calling them, that they're coming in with. different DNA, right? As the sun mutates and whatever, or the sun mutates us and whatever cosmic influences come up, these are one of those elements that is of the evolution of people, that it's not the ones who are already born that are getting their genetic material re-stitched back together. It's the unborn, the ones that are coming into the right. Like that's how this works. You're not getting your DNA reconfigured from the sun or from the Schumann resonances. That doesn't happen. And certainly the ringing in your ears is not going to be a result of that either, right? You can believe what you want, right? But the ringing and the vertigo in the ears is not from your DNA recombining into some silicate form or an advanced carbonate form. That's not how that operates, right? So, um, Earth is the most difficult school in the galaxy, right? It really is, because of the material form, because of the veil, because of everything that comes with the material veil, and moderating this so that we work well with others. And if all you did was worked well with others, and you were in commune with others, and you resonated with them, and you had a dance group and you're part of that, you have a bowling league and you give positively of that, and everyone loves you, or just this kind of thing. Or you go to Starbucks and you're Mr. Fabulous and they love you there. You just make their days better. You don't need to do anything more than that. There's nothing greater than that you're going to evolve into as a human, largely speaking. However, however, there is more than that, right? But not, you're not getting it through the false narrative. You're wrangling, trying to wrangle out of the readings of the Schumann resonances and the graphs coming from Tomsk. That's not because it's not going to be doing the work for you. You of yourself need to be doing the work. You're leading the procession of your own life. No one's doing it for you. Nothing is doing it for you. The Schumann resonances aren't doing it for you. I assure you of that. There's a whole other process in the opposite direction happening that I'm not going to go into, but it's not making you a better person for the sake of making you a better person. If you were a better person, you would be acting in that way rather than waiting for it to happen to you. That's just my humble view, and I'm welcome to my own humble view. All right. All right. So now is the time. It's this supposed spiritual time of uncovering and all of that, and you have to want it to happen, right? Um, Yet there is the least amount of knowledge and understanding of proper spiritual principles. Oh, yeah, that's for sure. People do not understand the proper spiritual pathway and principles and everything that's happening because it's not taught anywhere. It's not part of the Western society, and unfortunately for y'all, we just don't get that understanding in the material realm. All right, so. The physical material realm is one of the hardest schools to go through successfully without getting trapped. That's kind of what the wheel of karma is. It's getting stuck, trapped in the world of matter and illusion. And we falling for the traps, we falling for the distractions, and not remembering what our purpose or goal or our mission here is. And we get caught up in things like looking at the Schumann resonance graphs and believing that it's our cause it's the savior and that it's going to rise and take us with it and blah, 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 blah. One of the most difficult things here is to understand that which is an illusion from that which is true, real, and correct, right? The difference between the Schumann and the Schumann resonances. Sanity itself, a balanced individual, is defined by how much truth as a collective reality the individual accepts. So society won't let you live in your own imaginary world. It will give you manufactured reality it expects you to accept to be part of the group. What is true, real, actual, correct, proper becomes an individual experience, yet we are forcibly subjected to imposition of the collective acceptance by the rest of the group. It's easy enough to do the wrong thing. I will tell you that. It's easy enough to do the wrong thing, and a lot of people get caught up in the wrong thing, right? All right. So, you know what? I think that's a good place to take a break right now. 139, we'll just say 140. And I'll finish the, what do we got? We got 5 minutes. All right. So, that's a 140. We'll call it 140-40. And so we'll start the music in just a sec. And that's a good break, right? Good place to break. What else we got? Oh yeah, that's a good place to break. We have so I can make one last mad dash, and then we can kind of end it with some music, a little longer bit of music. We'll see whatever's on after this. It'll play up next. All right. So on that cheery note, we have where are we at? Pow. Where am I at? Pow. Here I am. Yeah. All right. We're all in. Oh, good. The next mix goes on for an hour and 16 minutes. Yeah, so I'll be able to get a few good minutes out of the end of that. Okay, okay, all right, okay, fine. All right, so let's onward and upward. 146. All right, so life goes on, sure, but it may not be. You think of the worm and the caterpillar and the butterfly. Life goes on, but it may not be in the form that it is. In fact, life will go on, but not in the same form that you might be used to, or one that you're comfortable with. Right? That's part of the thing of the change. Yeah, life goes on, but the situation here, the scenario around you changes. It's part of the flow of things. You're now in a different part of the river. Life goes on. You know, it's Mother's Day. I'm doing this on Mother's Day. I think my mom would generally have been, you know, a lot of my videos, maybe not all of them, she would have been um, giving me approval on, she would have liked. The topic would have been complicated for her to understand. I mean, for a lot of people to understand, but some of them she would have appreciated the videos. But a lot of these are really on a complicated subject matter, and I'm trying to bring it down to the understanding level of the average person. And it's difficult because you still need to have some technical training in the concepts to understand the vocabulary going on. This is really complicated stuff. I've done my best, but like you just gotta keep studying. A person has to keep studying, and the most basic stuff first. It's so complicated that you have to keep going over the basics. I just like that's even the basics is there's a huge like just this crazy learning curve to this stuff, and I have done my best to be patient with people, knowing that it's just beyond you, and I have no arrogance in this that I know this and again it makes me a great person. It's like, oh fuck, I've had to sacrifice to learn this stuff myself. I'm suffering along with you in a lot of this stuff, but I keep working at it, and I would rather, again, this is sort of where my downfall kind of is, if there is one, is that I I am very much uh a technical person, so I grasp this stuff. But I don't know anything about being with humans. I don't know anything about being with people. I really have kind of like that's all a mystery. The thing that makes it wonderful and that is its own kind of reward here is totally foreign. But all this highly technical stuff, I can tell you about that. I can help you with that. And so just kind of like that's where I'm at with this. Just we're working through you and I both working through completely highly technical stuff in our own way and working together to try and come up with somewhere in the middle ground of how we can, kind of meet our languages and get our terms down, right? So that we can progress and we can move on in a forward positive direction, right? Life goes on, but it's not how you think it's going to be. All of this, it's an illusion. This is part of the illusion that, yeah, life goes on, but it's changed and it's not going to be how it was. And that's part of the thing of it is dealing with what was in face of what is coming in. And not all the times in history have been equal to this. We're now in a quickening period as the poles shift to their new destinations, that we are facing we keep continuing to face a new normal, and we keep facing these new and new situations that rise up in these extreme, weather patterns that are coming from the earth adjusting to the changing of the planet. Uh, believe what you want, think what you want, you know. Uh, you know, the veil of the material realm, that death is the final. This is kind of the thing about the humans and humanity, is that it's part of the great experience of this is to be with family and friends and loved ones. And that's part of the sadness that comes with the death of the body, ego death, is that you lose that deep connection that comes with being there. The physical, the physical manifestation of the form that so much is invested in here, that when that's gone, a part of you goes with them. Right? If you've known someone for a while and you've hung out with them and you've shared that vibration, the vibes with them, and then they go over to the other side, those vibes change, and where and when and how you meet up with that person changes. They become a dream factor or an hallucination or whatever, but you don't have that deep, heartfelt connection with that person anymore. Unfortunately, because they've changed form. They're not in the physical form anymore. Ascension symptoms are not, and I've talked about this. Ascension symptoms are not the ringing in your ears, the vertigo, the nausea. That whole complex is RF reception in the inner ear, right? That, let's see, that whole complex of YMPTO is reception within the RF reception, right? Magnetic air, a form of around you within the cochlea. Right, right. And the cochlea is like a shell, looks like a spiral. Okay. All right. So that's where you have in the inner ear, and I've talked about this. In the inner ear, you have crystals that vibrate with both auditory pressure waves and with through the piezo, a form of the piezo effect, that they deform through electrical conductivity, and you feel something from that. And part of it is the nausea and the vertigo. That's what comes up on the electrical sensory body of the person. There's an exchange going on. Oh, okay, all right. So I'm living here. I've said this before. So there's an exchange. So my knowledge of I came down here. I incarnated down here to be part of the experience, to be part of the human experience, but part of what my contract is, what I'm bringing into this, is the knowledge of these higher orders of the phenomena of the Schumann resonances themselves, and how to read all the graphs and how to read all the higher order charts, um, and how to understand the basics. But it's also, which it's not intuitive, how to read those graphs. That's part of what I'm here, is how to show you how to read the graphs. So it's not intuitive, and you may not really actually grasp it properly just looking at it. It's not self-explanatory, it's not intuitive, and especially if you've taken 3/4 of the necessary data that tells you how to read the color codes, it's certainly not intuitive anymore at that point. So part of what the job here is to explain how to read the graphs and the charts, how to read them properly. It's been that from the very beginning, and that's been the main number one drive here that I've been doing in this, is telling you and showing you how to work the how to read the charts and the graphs, right? How to read them of itself. But now we're at the point where I'm talking about the Schumann. I've Up to the first 5 years, I like hardly ever use it with the Schumann, but now certainly in this video, I'm using it all over the place. And I'm using this phrase because it's a commonly understood phrase, and I want people to understand what that term means now. And it's not just, well, I'm not going to use it because, well, all right, let's talk about the Schumann, and let's talk about the deception that comes with the narrative, which integrates catastrophic shortcuts into the agenda, that it makes it okay that you have left out important parts of the data because the agenda, the what we're running through, allows you to do that. The this agenda allowed allegedly supported by the graphs, and they don't. You couldn't. There's nowhere else you can go. No other graphs. Nowhere else you can go to prove what they're trying to prove, and they pull it from Tomsk because people don't know how to read what they're reading. Right? They don't know how to read what they're looking at. Right? I need to give the full, complete explanation what's behind the scenes with the graph readings where people have misinterpreted the charts for this agenda of ascension or evolution of the physical form. Right? Oh, when I say modern ascension is simply another name for transhumanism, whether they can acknowledge this or not, right? And I'm not going to, I probably should have even put that in there, but it was a thought. I'm not going to substantiate that, but it did seem to me that the transhumanist agenda is that we're going to improve humans. We're going to make them bionic people and put ports in them, and do put nanobots and improve humans, uh and it seems almost that like humans themselves can't evolve or can't get to where you want, so you have to artificially enhance them, and it's almost seems that that's the sort of the similar concept of philosophy. I'm not sure what, maybe metaphysics, behind the rising frequency of human resonances, that's doing the work for you. That you're not, you of yourself are not the one that's rising, but it's being done to you or for you. It's you have no control over it, right? So it's the same. Like I don't know if it makes sense to you on your end, but there's this similar vein, and I just kind of, it was sort of an afterthought, and maybe I shouldn't have put that in there. I don't know, but it did seem that I've been talking about this for a while, right? This is not the first time I have this discussion on this, and I've been trying to give this sort of qualification of what it is, so that you can understand it. It's floating around. It's a spirit of the age. It's of the atmosphere of where we're in at this time of transition, where people want certain stuff to happen, and they would like certain stuff to happen, and yet it's not of itself going to happen. It's not ever how it was promised to the people, or pledged, or predicted, or prophesied, or proselytized to the people, that it would be automatic to you just simply for sucking in oxygen, or just simply for living. No, 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 no. No, what it has always been is you are responsible for your own salvation, your own evolution. It's the rising up of the frequency of the masses isn't doing it for you, right? So that's sort of where I'm going with that, and I have been talking about this. I'll develop this more in the future, as as my guides insist I talk about this. That's where we're coming from. That I'm revealing this from my guides. I believe everything here, and I know what it means, but this is coming from the God. This is coming from the higher order stuff. True spiritual growth causes one to become uncomfortable, right? Occupying the physical form as the only answer. When you start evolving up there in the spiritual realm, you start realizing there's more to this, and you start getting real restless being in the human form, and you want to start, most people, certainly my case, I wanted to start exploring other realms. I don't necessarily want to end life here in the body, but I do want to explore other mental and spiritual realms that come from, you know, having the body disciplined. And I'll just put it that way. The um but it's part of the thing of living in the body itself, as you're not, you can't escape it until that very end. You got to come back at a certain point. Even if you do go away, you still need to come back into the body and tend to it. But this is one of those discussions on that we have, of what the importance of the body is versus the spiritual realm, and you're in the physical realm of earth. That's one of the important things to understand, that your will is attached to the body, and there's this thin cord that that holds your will to the body, that you can stretch it, but at a certain point, if you go past it, it breaks and you're done with the physical form. Right? The 12 strand DNA may be an improvement of the physical form, right? This is sort of where I'm talking about going on about the transhumanism, is this discussion about the 12 strand DNA opening up and we becoming, superhuman and entering into 5D and new Earth. And there is this whole world of discussion on the 12 strand DNA restitching back together, and that it is coming through the the magic of the rising frequencies of Schumann resonances. And they keep pointing to the spikes on the spectrogram to prove it. And this has been an easy to chew on narrative that the masses can just sort of fumble into, that they don't have to think too much. You don't have to know too much about science. It's not too demanding on you. It's just it assumes that it's well beyond what you can understand physically, and if you just kind of vibe with it and understand that the spikes are the rising resonances, you'll just, the rest of it will all just magically, intuitively kind of osmose to you into sense. And yet that's really the problem, is that you can't osmose it into like a process, how that actually functions for you to work as a process of conscious evolution, right? The earth doing it for you isn't something that you, right, you can't, you're not doing anything, right? And that's, a lot of people believe that this evolution is them of necessity, they're not doing anything. They don't need to. They don't have any plan. They don't. It's absurd that you would present to them that they would need some type of a pathway, a plan, rather than just kind of it being done to them. Right? And this nature of, or the idea of ascension symptoms, that they're locked down to the RF, poisoning, like I said, they're the ascension symptoms being this ringing in the ears and all of that, that it's being done to you, that you don't know any better. It's being done to you. Like almost like a victim of some type. Right? So this is important to understand, of what that narrative of the Schumann brings with it, relative to what your understanding that you need to have is. Okay. Um, the physical world, I think it was supposed to be raining a little bit later. I think it's actually raining now. I love the rain. I mean, it's nice to be here in sunny Florida, but I also kind of like the rain as well. Just because it rained. It rained like a motherfucker last night. All right. So let's kind of wrap this up here. So we're in the physical world. Rain. Rain is one of those things. The physical body getting wet. There's this whole world of understanding of the elements of the physical world, the physical elements around us, right? And that's what we're learning, is the physical. That's what one of the things we're learning to we as a person, me. We're learning in the experience down here as a human, is how to manipulate matter, how to make things, how to forge things, how to create of our own imagination, how to create things that we like, we want. We've put our heart and our mind and our imagination to, and we've given of that unto the unto service, the service for the whole, even me just for myself of my own pride, or given the service of God, or hey, it's something I made because I wanted to sell it, whatever, something we created, this brand new thing we created. It's an amazing thing, and the ability to create new, improvingly, increasingly new things is seemingly endless. As we have old technology that's no longer useful for stuff gets reinvented in new ways and created as an art project or something. It is this amazing, limitless, I call it self-sustaining engine. It creates a perpetual self-sustaining engine that allows for things to continue on principle alone, infinitely. You can just, that's part of the thing of being here as a human. You just can keep creating. As long as you have the imaginary spark to create, you'll create something, right? And I don't know what, but you'll create something wonderful, right? Uh, and it's this kind of the things breaking down, but to reestablish themselves are this amazing experience that we can have, right? Human complexity and complexification is at about the limit of its ability to maintain composure and order. Complex shapes, geographies, structures are collapsing around us. The disconnect with the natural world comes even greater with rising frequencies. So, you can't. This isn't even at the end. This is just where I stop writing. Like we're at 2 hours now. I'm already 2 hours into it. This is 2 hours here. And like, oh, I'm just kind of scratching the surface. But this is enough for you to wrap your heads around. Um, and so the one of the talks of one of those kind of myths of the New Age is that, in fact, it uh, is that it you're rising frequencies, and the frequencies are going to keep rising, and then it's like, well, and then what? At what point are they going to stop? Do you think that you're changing, the frequencies rise enough to change your physical into a spiritual form, like going from water into steam or something? I just have this vision. Everything, I need a picture of everything in my head of what it is, some kind of picture of what you have in your mind, because some of this stuff is so abstract. I don't even know what the words mean anymore. You certainly don't need, like, frequencies that you're talking about are not they're emotions or moods, and they're not like actual waves. And maybe we can call emotions frequencies, but like, there's a whole other order of stuff going on here that I'm just not able to wrap my head around. And it's just part of the human experience, and it kind of wears me down to have to try and figure this out and interpret it into the technical language. And it's part of the wearing and tearing down that it's like I'm just I don't know. And as we move forward into the go time and into the new location, our new home, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm just like, okay, I can't even deal with this. So anyway, I'm glad you're here. Thank you all for being here and working through this just horrendous. I want to get 210. Working on this kind of new earth and helping you out, and it's just, I'm here to help out, but at a certain point, I am kind of done, because the earth is just going to have shifted so far that I'm just not able to, you're not able to just to be here anymore. Like the birds that fall out of the sky and they wind up, dead. Like, there you go. That's me. That's my that I felt that. I felt that. Like every single one of those birds, they're just minding their own business. They fall out of the sky and just like, yep, there you go. I felt that. Every single bit of that. So anyway, all right. So 90950, whatever it is. All right. So let's start this. Ooh, yeah. And she knew you right. All right. Where are we at? Every man gotta stand on his own. Well, every man gotta stand on his own. Okay, all right, yep, absolutely, that's true. All right, so we are at the end of this here video, and we're kind of done here. And so I don't know if I'm gonna have a part C here in this, or maybe just do a whole nother. I got a bunch of other stuff on the drawing board, but I don't know. I got to figure out what I'm doing. I I have a lot of stuff that I need to talk about. The time is getting short. It really is, and you have plenty enough time to be with the ones you love and share, and just be at one with and make their day better. Right? It's just always time for that. Right? Regardless of whatever else is happening with humanity, just make the day better for yourself and for other people. Just that's all there is to it. And from that, good things will happen, can happen, and will happen. And regardless of whatever else you know, if you were a star seed and the skies opened up for you, I assure you, the heaven would say, we'll tell you everything, but you still have to live with people, and you still have to be a wonderful person to be with. There is no substitute for that, right? You have to be part of what's happening here. That's why you came down here. And you can't get away from that, right? So, on that cheery note, it's I guess it's just time, and you know, just every man, has to live on his own. Good night, everyone. It's just time.